If church food doesn't make you shout, "God is good," can it even be called church food? But what about the forgotten recipes that once lit up the congregation with joy and flavor? Let's bring back those 25 forgotten church recipes that have faded into history. Heavenly Ham Loaf. Let's talk about Heavenly Ham Loaf, a vintage American dish that truly earned its divine name. Rising to fame in the mid-20th century, this recipe embodied everything that era stood for: simplicity, community, and comfort. Back then, meals weren't just food. They were about bringing people together, sharing moments, and creating memories. While the later part of the century leaned toward quick and easy fixes, the earlier days celebrated dishes made to feed a crowd, dishes like this one. And why was it called heavenly? The sweet glaze was the secret. It started with brown sugar but quickly evolved as creative cooks experimented with pineapple, cola, and other sweet touches that elevated the flavor. It didn't matter who you were or where you came from, this dish was a culinary symbol of inclusion. After all, what's a church if not a place of acceptance and togetherness? Sunday School Macaroni and Cheese Pie. Sunday School Macaroni and Cheese Pie is the very definition of comfort food. This is no ordinary mac and cheese. It's an upgraded version baked to perfection with eggs and milk, giving it a firm, pie-like texture that can be sliced and served. People often took it to the next level by adding a mix of cheeses like Colby, Monterey Jack, or even sharp cheddar for that extra burst of flavor. The history of this dish is rooted in resilience. During America's post-Depression and post-war years, basic ingredients like eggs and milk were still scarce for many families. Churches played a pivotal role in helping communities recover, offering meals like this that brought both comfort and nourishment. Glory Be Deviled Ham Spread. Let's talk about Glory Be Deviled Ham Spread, a nostalgic dish that perfectly captures the charm of 20th century fellowship meals. These were the days of potluck galore, where dishes were designed to bring people together and lift their spirits. In the midst of these gatherings, deviled ham spread rose to popularity. The term deviled was purely for flair, hinting at the bold, aggressively seasoned flavors in this dish. Packed with chopped ham, Worcestershire sauce, cayenne pepper, paprika, and mustard, it was a flavorful spread that made any gathering feel special. Bell peppers were often added, providing a crisp, fresh contrast to the savory richness. The name Glory Be was a comforting phrase often heard in church, a reflection of the sense of solace and community these meals offered. Sunday Chicken Casserole. Another beloved classic that deserves a revival is the Sunday Chicken Casserole. This was the meal everyone eagerly anticipated at the end of a long week. It was the shining star of many church gatherings and Sunday feasts. Imagine sitting down to a comforting dish packed with flavor and warmth, something that felt like a hug from home. That's the magic of a casserole. It wasn't just practical, you could easily feed a group of any size alike, but it was also irresistibly delicious. Cheesy goodness, tender chicken, and just the right balance of seasoning made it a crowd favorite. For many, Sunday dinners were more than just a meal. They were a ritual. A way for families to reconnect, recharge, and savor the last moments of the weekend before the week began again. These casseroles weren't just for people needing a hearty meal. They were about creating space to sit down, share stories, and be present with loved ones. Angel's Egg Casserole. The Angel's Egg Casserole was a baked delight that combined a custard-like mixture of eggs and dairy with bread, vegetables, and meats. Its texture and ingredients often varied depending on the resources available that Sunday. Sometimes it was a luxurious dish made with heavy cream, ground beef, and lamb. Other times, it was a humble casserole made from donated ingredients brought in by the congregation. Casseroles like this were beloved in mid-20th century America, largely thanks to church gatherings that popularized the concept of one-pot meals. This particular casserole was a testament to resilience, community spirit, and the ingenuity of home cooks who could create something divine from the simplest of ingredients. Angel Biscuits. Angel biscuits might not have intense biblical symbolism in their name, but they certainly live up to their heavenly reputation. These traditional Southern biscuits combine baking powder, baking soda, and yeast to create one of the fluffiest, most delicate baked treats you'll ever experience. Their light and airy texture earn them the name Angel Biscuits, fitting for a dish that seems almost too perfect to be real. But how did such a tender and delicate creation emerge from the South? Even the grandest of barbecues needs a side that balances the boldness of smoked meats, and church kitchens were always on the hunt for recipes that could feed crowds without fail. After the challenges of the early 20th century, food that brought comfort and ease was a welcome relief. Angel biscuits became a go-to for church gatherings because they were nearly foolproof and easy to make, yet satisfying enough to leave a lasting impression. Church Lady 7-Layer Salad. Before we dive into the charm of the Church Lady 7-Layer Salad, let's break down what a 7-layer salad is all about. As the name suggests, it's a salad with 7 distinct layers, making it the lasagna of the salad world, or maybe the quadruple burger of potluck dishes. It's almost always served in a glass bowl, where its vibrant layers can shine, making it as much a visual treat as it is a culinary one. Traditionally, this layered masterpiece includes ingredients like chopped tomatoes, green peas, lettuce, hard-boiled eggs, bacon, onion, and cheese. Not only does it look stunning, but it's also practical, something you can prepare in advance, which was a lifesaver for busy church kitchens. Now, the church lady version has a twist. Back in the day, church ladies were the heart of church gatherings. Women who hosted potlucks, organized meals, and brought their A-game to every dish they prepared. Their skills turned even the simplest recipes into something extraordinary. Coffee and butter. Coffee and butter may sound like an odd pairing, but it has been enjoyed worldwide for its simplicity and energy-boosting properties. Farmers in the Midwest and Northeast relied on this high-calorie drink to keep their energy levels up during long days in the fields. Adding butter to coffee created a rich, satisfying beverage that provided sustained energy. This combination is a reminder of how necessity drives culinary innovation. Though it's simple, the pairing of coffee and butter became a treasured ritual for many, especially in farming-heavy communities. Missionary Chicken Pot Pie. Missionary Chicken Pot Pie is exactly what it sounds like. A dish designed for community gatherings, hearty and comforting. At its core, it's a traditional chicken pot pie featuring shredded chicken, freshly prepared or repurposed from Sunday roasts, carrots, celery, potatoes, green beans, onions, and a flavorful chicken broth. The dish is topped with a flaky pie crust or biscuit topping, making it as satisfying as it is delicious. This dish was designed to feed entire groups, particularly during the colder months when warmth and comfort were needed most. It was a staple in rural communities where church gatherings provided not just food, but also solace. Chicken pot pies weren't just church favorites, they were a standard meal at home too. Over time, though, their ubiquity may have worked against them. People wanted something unique at church that they couldn't easily find on their own dinner table. Pineapple cheese squares. The bite-sized food craze that defined the later half of the 20th century had its roots in dishes like pineapple cheese squares. These little delights were practical, flavorful, and perfect for busy church ladies who were often cooking for entire communities. Introduced alongside Hawaiian Spam in 1937, pineapple cheese squares quickly became a popular addition to church gatherings. These squares were simple yet delightful. Tiny cuts of ham topped with cheese and a piece of pineapple, all served in bite-sized portions. They packed a punch of flavor and provided much-needed energy, making them ideal for bustling church kitchens. But these squares weren't just about practicality, they were about connection. They offered a chance for people to gather, snack, and chat, building bonds over meals. Grape salad with brown sugar, pecan topping. Moving into the 1950s and 1960s, another iconic dish emerged, grape salad with brown sugar pecan topping. This was the golden age of sweet and creamy salads, a time when culinary experimentation flourished. On one side, you had people trying out every jelly imaginable, and on the other, creamy creations like ambrosia salads became wildly popular. This grape salad perfectly blended those trends, offering a delightful combination of flavors and textures. The true star of the dish, the brown sugar pecan topping. With its buttery crunch and caramelized sweetness, it elevated the salad to a new level. Whether you were in the Midwest or the South, this topping transformed the dish into a crowd pleaser. The creamy dressing made with brown sugar, sour cream, and cream cheese was perfectly complemented by the crunch of the pecans and the fresh sweetness of the grapes. It was light yet indulgent, perfect for a relaxed gathering or a moment of quiet indulgence. Church Basement Tuna Noodle Casserole. Don't let the name Church Basement Tuna Noodle Casserole scare you. It has nothing to do with actual basements. This dish earned its name simply because it was a regular at church potlucks and gatherings. While it might sound unappetizing at first, this casserole had its own charm back in the day. The recipe featured wide egg noodles, canned tuna, and a base of cream of mushroom soup. To make it extra creamy, sour cream or milk was often added, resulting in a velvety texture. On top of this, diced celery, peas, and cheese were layered, creating a hearty, filling dish that could feed a crowd. Although it was a practical way to incorporate seafood into meals, it didn't stand the test of time. The combination of tuna and creamy casserole just didn't appeal to everyone, and over time it fell out of favor. While it's not a dish that makes a comeback often, it remains a quirky reminder of mid-century church potluck culture. Old-fashioned tomato aspic. Tomato aspic was a staple of the 20th century for a variety of reasons, though it may seem a bit odd by today's standards. It was the most palatable thing you could make out of molded gelatin, at least according to its fans. Back then, not everyone was on board with the idea of savory gelatin salads, as the concept felt too unusual. The idea of cold, wobbly, tomato-based salads didn't sit well with many people, yet tomato aspic managed to carve out a niche for itself. Made with a tomato soup base and served with a creamy dressing, its charm lay not just in its flavor, but in its stunning presentation. Seeing the dish molded and arranged beautifully often persuaded skeptics to give it a try, and many were pleasantly surprised. Churches loved this dish because it was versatile. It could serve as a side, a salad, an appetizer, or even the centerpiece of a church lunch. It was practical too, since it could be made ahead of time, which was ideal for busy church kitchens. Gospel glazed meatballs. Gospel glazed meatballs were the go-to dish for church holiday parties, known for their simplicity and unforgettable flavor. The original glaze, a combination of grape jelly and chili sauce, was invented here and eventually became a mainstream hit. Over time, churches added their regional twist to the recipe, using apricot preserves, orange marmalade, or even cranberry sauce as substitutes for grape jelly. Some versions leaned toward the sweet side, while others packed a spicy punch with ingredients like sriracha, crushed red pepper, or chipotle. Savory additions like garlic added another layer of complexity, keeping the dish exciting and fresh. Meatballs had always been a staple in American households, but church kitchens gave them a much-needed makeover. Heavenly Hash Salad. The Heavenly Hash Salad is a classic fruit-filled delight that graced Sunday school gatherings, holiday dinners, and countless church events. If you ever needed an extra boost for your skin, gut health, or just more fruit in your diet, this dish had you covered. It was packed with chunks of pineapple, the juiciest and freshest mandarin oranges, ripe maraschino cherries, the kind America is famous for, and a medley of grapes, bananas, apples, and marshmallows. The base? A creamy blend of Cool Whip or sour cream, with the option to add dried fruits for a satisfying crunch. This salad was a dream for anyone who preferred sweet, cheerful flavors over sour or bitter ones. But the real beauty of Heavenly Hash Salad wasn't just its taste or vibrant look, it was how easy it was to make. You didn't need fancy kitchen appliances or an oven, making it accessible to everyone. For many, this dessert became a symbol of inclusivity, allowing people without access to traditional baking tools to enjoy something special. Its name, Heavenly Hash, comes from its pearly, cloud-like appearance. Truly a dish that looked like it belonged behind the gates of heaven. Sweetheart Jell-O mold. Sweetheart Jell-O molds were a bright and festive addition to church tables, especially around Valentine's Day. These heart-shaped gelatin molds came in vibrant cherry, raspberry, or strawberry flavors and were often topped with canned pineapple, grapes, banana slices, or even marshmallows. Sweetened cream cheese and whipped cream added a velvety richness to the dish, turning it into a textural masterpiece. These molds weren't just limited to Valentine's Day. They were a hit at wedding showers, fellowship dinners, and potlucks, bringing flair and color to any event. Sparkling Jell-O variations with a touch of effervescence made the dish even more eye-catching. While it enjoyed its time in the limelight and was featured in community cookbooks, it eventually faded from popularity as more elaborate and intricate desserts took its place. Blessed bean salad. What we now call blessed bean salad was, in simpler times, just a mix of whatever beans were available. Church ladies would throw together green beans, pinto beans, black beans, wax beans, and kidney beans, anything high in protein and fiber to provide strength and keep people full longer. The blessed name added a bit of charm, especially in southern churches where it became a beloved potluck staple. Sometimes a bold dressing of red wine, vinegar, mustard, and garlic would be used, creating a surprisingly sophisticated flavor. By the 1950s and 60s, the rise of canned beans made this dish even more accessible and affordable, which was especially helpful for understaffed and underfunded churches. It was a hearty, no-fuss dish that fed the soul as much as the body. Potluck funeral potatoes. Funeral potatoes became a quintessential church dish, famously served at gatherings during or after funerals. This creamy, comforting potato casserole transcended cultural and geographical boundaries, bringing people together in times of grief. While some trace its roots to Mormon traditions in the West, the dish quickly spread nationwide because of its universal appeal. This rich, meatless casserole featured potatoes, cheese, and cream, classic hallmarks of American comfort food. It was designed to soothe both the body and the mind, making it a perfect dish for somber occasions. Funeral potatoes weren't just about feeding the crowd, they were about easing sorrow and fostering a sense of togetherness. Shepherd's Jubilee Pie. A shepherd's Jubilee Pie is essentially a shepherd's pie with a celebratory twist. It was crafted to bring a touch of festivity to potlucks and buffets, inviting people to indulge with their biggest appetites. While the base ingredients, ground lamb or beef, vegetables, and mashed potatoes remained the same, the pie was often dressed up with colorful garnishes and a more polished presentation to brighten the mood. In the 20th century, food presentation was vital, especially at church gatherings. Many attendees were hungry, tired, and cold, often on their last legs. A visually stunning dish could lift spirits and make the event feel like a celebration. Rather than just another meal, the Shepherd's Jubilee Pie brought warmth, nourishment, and a sense of joy to the table. While the food was technically free, there was an unspoken understanding that attendees would contribute to church efforts, whether through donations, helping with relief work, or lending a hand with maintenance. And let's face it, that's a lot easier to get excited about when there's a delicious, hearty meal waiting for you. Glorious Chicken Divan. Glorious Chicken Divan has a rich history that began in New York City during the 1930s. The Chatham Hotel's renowned Parisian restaurant, The Dean, created this iconic dish, pairing poached chicken and broccoli with a luxurious Mornay sauce, a bechamel sauce enhanced with cheese. While the original was an upscale treat, home cooks quickly adapted it with simpler ingredients, making it a comfort food staple in post-Depression and post-war America. Even these budget-friendly versions were delicious thanks to the growing influence of French culinary techniques. Chicken Divan became a symbol of elegance on a dime, bridging the gap between fine dining and everyday cooking. Sunday Picnic Pickle Loaf. The Sunday Picnic Pickle Loaf is a nostalgic dish that evokes memories of breezy afternoons and simple pleasures. From the 1940s to the 1950s, it was the perfect picnic meal, portable, affordable, and packed with flavor. This dish struck a delicate balance between sweet and savory. Thin slices of pickle loaf were layered with mayonnaise and mustard, creating a unique and satisfying bite. Though it has faded from modern picnics, this dish remains a comforting memory for those who recall its heyday. Church potlucks often featured creative variations, proving that, with a little imagination, even humble ingredients could shine. Cherished cherry almond bars. Cherished cherry almond bars might not scream mid-90s dessert, but they were a delightful surprise. These treats featured a buttery shortbread crust filled with maraschino cherries and topped with an almond-flavored crumble and glaze. The flavor profile was a perfect balance of tangy, nutty, and sweet, reminiscent of modern ice cream flavors or even a Snickers bar. The almond extract in the crust and glaze brought the whole dish together, while slivered almonds and cherry filling made it a standout dessert for Thanksgiving or other special occasions. It's a nostalgic treat that still holds its charm, especially for those who love a little nutty sweetness in their desserts. Fellowship Pot Roast Pie. Fellowship Pot Roast Pie was the embodiment of everything church potluck dishes stood for. It combined slow-cooked, tender beef, soft vegetables, and rich, oozing gravy, all encased in a flaky, buttery pie crust. A biscuit topping elevated the dish even further, making it a beloved option for adult gatherings. While kids in urban areas didn't always appreciate it, those raised on rustic cooking adored this hearty dish. Beef, though expensive at the time, was the star of the show, and it felt like the church was going the extra mile when you caught the aroma of this pie wafting through the air. However, this dish also symbolizes why recipes like these fell out of favor. They were designed for large batches and crowds, but as convenience foods like canned, frozen, and pre-packaged items gained popularity, labor-intensive recipes became less appealing. The days of slow-cooked, homemade dishes like this began to fade. Lasagna. Few dishes rival the comfort of a homemade lasagna. This cheesy, layered indulgence has become a staple of laid-back Saturday afternoons. With its simple yet flavorful components, lasagna sheets, pasta sauce, and layers of cheese, it's easy to see why it's beloved worldwide. While lasagna is often associated with Italian cuisine, its origins trace back to ancient Greece. Historical records suggest a similar recipe was written down in Naples during the Middle Ages. Regardless of its origins, lasagna has cemented its place as a go-to dish in households everywhere, bringing comfort and joy with every bite. Hungarian Goulash. Hungarian goulash is not just a meal, it's a taste of history. Despite its name, it's not a soup, but rather a thick, hearty stew that packs a flavorful punch thanks to its key ingredient, Hungarian paprika. This rustic dish combines tender chunks of beef, onions, bell peppers, and potatoes simmered in a rich, spiced broth. It's thicker than soup, but lighter than traditional stews, making it the perfect comfort food for a cold winter's night. Hungarian goulash has been around since the 9th century, originally cooked by Hungarian herdsmen over open fires. Authentic goulash uses Hungarian paprika, which gives it its signature smoky, sweet flavor and vibrant red hue. Serve it with egg noodles or dumplings for a traditional touch, and don't forget a sprinkle of caraway seeds or a dollop of sour cream for an added layer of flavor. With every bite, Hungarian goulash brings warmth, history, and old-world charm to your table. Baked banana chips. Here's a lesser-known treat that deserves more attention. Baked banana chips. These caramelized, sweet chips had the perfect balance of tang and crunch, making them an addictive snack. A touch of lemon juice prevented the sweetness from being overwhelming, while a sprinkle of salt amplified the banana's natural flavor. The honey-like aftertaste of the chips kept people coming back for more, making them ideal for anyone with a sweet tooth. They offered a refreshing alternative to traditional desserts like ice cream or sodas, providing a unique and healthier snack option. Simple yet satisfying, baked banana chips were proof that sometimes the best ideas are the simplest ones. Heaven-sent cornbread salad. If there's a dish that truly defines Southern charm, it's the heaven-sent cornbread salad. Cornbread itself has a golden legacy in the South, and for good reason. It wasn't just a food, it was a lifeline. Corn became a heaven-sent blessing during times of scarcity, keeping countless families fed when little else was available. At homecomings and church gatherings, cornbread salads became vibrant, colorful centerpieces that brought a touch of celebration to the table. The salad was a delicious mix of chopped tomatoes, green peppers, red onions, a southern favorite, and pinto and black beans. These ingredients reflected the generational roots of the South, with each bite carrying a piece of history. The dressing was a creamy, indulgent blend of mayonnaise and sour cream, tying all the flavors together. And there you have it, 25 forgotten church recipes that once brought families and communities together, now fading into history. But who says we can't bring them back? Let's keep these traditions alive by reviving these timeless dishes in our own kitchens. Which recipe would you love to try first? Let us know in the comments.